in 2 Kings that I'm telling you about. God promised Israel that they will win the battle. He said, it's yours. You're going to win. You're going to win. And they got themselves ready and they invaded Moab. The Bible tells us they completely defeated Moab. Now, the next thing was to advance into Moab and take the spoil. But the king of Moab, King Mesha by name, tried to fight back. The Bible records that he wanted to go with 700 of his strongest men and break through the weakest point. It tells us he could not. He tried his best to fight back. He could not. Then, let me read it to you here, what happened. This is so touching because you're talking about a man. King Mesha was a man, a worshiper of Chemosh. Chemosh was the idol of Moab. And he understood the spiritual. He understood that it was either they won in the spirit realm or they lost. If he could win there, he won on the ground. But here was a man that believed he had to protect his kingdom with everything that he had. He was going to fight with everything that he had. What I ask you is this: you've been praying, but what have you done as proof that this kingdom is worth defending? Are you surprised that ministers of the gospel will flee the churches? They fled. Many could not even hold Christmas services because they were afraid of the virus. And they were the ones who advised many governments to disallow those services. Many were afraid to hold 31st night service, even when the government gave them. In some cities, in some states, in some countries, the government allowed them to go and hold those services. They were afraid. They said no. They told the government no. They canceled all such meetings out of fear. See, because the kingdom, this kingdom we talk about, never meant anything to them. Question is, does it mean anything to you? Do you realize that this COVID-19 fiasco, do you realize that it wasn't governments who gave money into it? No, those who are perpetrating this evil work around the world are from the private sector. They're using their resources. They put together huge amounts of money, billions of dollars, to prosecute this evil around the world because they want to carry out what they call the Great Reset. And they told nations, don't worry, we will finance it. They promised nations that they will borrow money to nations. Think about it. They had so accumulated much wealth that now they decide they can control the world. The interesting thing is, many of these people put their finances, their resources into this work to carry out their plans. And we know that these plans are inspired by Satan. We know. And we say so. But what have we done? We who are inspired by Christ, what have we done with our resources? I want to show you how God respects those who understand the seriousness of the hour. He promised Israel, he said, you will win. You win the war. You're going to win the battle. And they advanced, taking up cities, defeating the Moabite cities. But the next thing was, now we're taking everything. We're going to take the spoil. We'll get the king first, but the king is fighting back. And the Bible tells us, when this King Mesha found out not even his best soldiers could break through, he tried to go through Edom. It didn't work. Then he offered a sacrifice to his God. You know what he did? Let's read it. And when, from verse 26, and when the king of Moab saw that the battle was too sore for him, he took with him 700 men that drew swords to break through even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. Then he took his eldest son that should have reigned in his stead. This was his most priceless gift that he was going to give to Chemosh, his own son that would reign in his stead. Look at it. The Bible says, then he took his eldest son that should have reigned in his stead and offered him for a burnt offering upon the wall. And there was great indignation against Israel, and they departed from him and returned to their own land. Israel went back without the spoil. They went back like defeated people. They went back with nothing. After they fought and fought and fought, they couldn't take anything. They left like defeated men. Several years ago, archaeological discoveries, they found the Moabite stones. On one of these stones, King Mesha had written his own testimony, how his God Chemosh defeated the God of Israel. That's what he wrote. How he offered his son, and Chemosh had victory over the God of Israel. Of course, Chemosh did not defeat the God of Israel, but the God of Israel had respect to how far a man could go in offering his own son out of desperation to deliver his kingdom. Not even God would help the Israelites now to take a spoil. They went with nothing. You see, we can pray all we want to, but until we demonstrate in our giving as though this kingdom is real and important, we've done nothing. So the prayer is not enough. How are we going to win souls? How are we going to get these things done? You know what they did? When they had their meeting at the World Economic Forum, they made contacts with all the leaders of industry that they invited. And they spent time going from nation to nation, reaching business people and getting them to buy into their idea for the Great Reset, to change the world. And they pledged, listen, I'm telling you real, these documents are out there. They pledged huge sums of money by various groups to do what is going on now. You want to just pray and that is enough? No, not good enough. Not good enough. Your giving has to show that the kingdom means something to you. Your substance has to be inside. It has to be inside. And the same thing with ministers of the gospel around the world. This is one of the reasons those churches are closed, because many of those ministers never gave to God. A lot of them never gave to God. They thought that their service meant giving. No, it's not enough. It's not enough.